that's just for you. You'll be the only one that gets the link to it.
Yes.
So tell me about, well, first of all, tell me about this aria. How long have you had it?
I've only had it for about 2 months, so it's still very new.
Hmm.
But it's probably the first aria I've ever been given that, like, right off the bat just felt right.
Oh,
Um,
good.
like when I sing it, I don't feel like I have to try. Which actually has turned out to be its own sort of problem in that, like, when I had my voice lesson with Andy yesterday, I guess, no, it was Monday. Um, he was like, "You're like trying to." He's telling me that I'm like trying to manufacture it because I feel like I have to, but I
Uh-huh.
because that's what's like ingrained in me. But with this aria, I don't. I just need to let it be. So that's like something I'm kind of struggling with on this. And then for
Yeah.
acting wise on it, I'm struggling just because I'm constantly torn between, like, not being able to find the balance of between too much and not enough on of,
Okay.
like, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it makes perfect sense. But so let's start with, instead of starting with the exterior, let's start with the interior. Tell me who Rosalinda is.
Um okay, so she's a married woman. She's married to Eisenstein, and I've been trying, because this is still kind of new. I've been trying to find a good libretto, but like I've been having to do it like where I go through like the score and read it, and for some reason it's not sticking with me well that way. But she's, her husband is supposed to be going to jail, and she thinks
Don't, don't,
he's gone to jail.
don't tell me what happens. Talk to me about who she is.
Um,
She's a housewife. Where does she live?
um, oh, I don't know. Sorry.
Okay. So write that down. That's something you need to find out, because this is actually very important to the plot. The time period and the location heavily inform this libretto.
Okay.
And it explains a lot of the things in it that seem weird to us as Americans.
Okay.
All right. So you need to find out where she is and when this takes place. And it's not very hard to find this information. There are some society conventions that happen at this time. Okay. Um, so let's see if there's some questions you can ask about her. You can answer about her. Um, does she have any children?
No.
Okay. Who else lives in the household with her and Eisenstein?
Um, does Adela live with? I don't. She does live with them, right? Or
I would think she would be a live-in at this
yeah,
time period.
I don't know. I think it's just them. Am I wrong?
Well, what we know, who is Adele?
She's her maid, or
She's
who
her
Eisenstein.
she's the lady's maid, her lady's maid. But she does more than that, So um
Yeah.
so they probably don't have a whole fleet of servants, but they have at least one live-in servant. I'm going to say they probably have at least two because they probably have someone who cooks for them. Rosalinda certainly doesn't cook, right? So what does this tell you about their social status?
Probably upper class of
Are they royalty? Are they nobility?
no.
Okay. So upper class, they're probably they're not titled, but they have some money. They move around in pretty big circles. So who are their friends?
I'm trying to remember names. um,
Well, there's one very important friend who is the person behind this entire plot.
It's Falk, right?
Falca, yeah.
Falk.
Dr. Falca is a friend to both of them. He's mostly Eisenstein's friend, but he's also friends with Rosalinda through him. And he's the one that manipulates the whole thing, gets them an invitation to Orlovsky's party, et cetera, et cetera. Um, Rosalinda also has another very special friend. Who is that?
Is it Alfred?
Her boyfriend, well, sort of boyfriend or suitor. It's not
Yeah.
clear that they've ever actually done anything, but
Hmm.
he pursues her with great uh what do I want to say? He's very persistent.
Yeah.
Okay, so in let's assume this is taking place in a European city, and let's assume it's taking place sometime in the 1800s. Um, is it a risk for Rosalinda to be having an affair with somebody, or even a flirtation of this type?
I think most definitely it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, and she does want to be true to Eisenstein because she says, I can't do this. I'm married.
Yeah.
So she's having a flirtation that has gotten out of hand. And she doesn't really intend to carry through with it, to physicalize it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, she really likes the attention, right?
Yep.
So why is this married woman who doesn't want to betray her husband? Why is she doing this?
Um, I mean, I don't know. I know what I want to say, but I'm having trouble putting it into words. Um, she, ah, uh, she, like you said, I mean, she likes. Are you asking why she's flirting with Alfred or why she goes to the ball? Sorry.
I'm asking you about her relationship with Alfred and
Oh,
why she would risk her social status and possibly being divorced by having an affair with a man.
hmm.
All right, back up a little bit. Think about her relationship with Eisenstein. What do you know about Eisenstein?
Um, he's kind of a. Why are all my adjectives leaving my head? he's. I don't know. I've always kind of viewed him as kind of a joke. Like I don't know. He just strikes me as like kind of immature and
He's a
uh
frat bro, right?
yeah. Yeah, thank you. I was like trying to describe it. I couldn't think of how
He's
to.
he's a he's basically a useless human being.
Yeah.
All he does is go out and party with his friends and get drunk and cheat on his wife,
Mhm.
right? He cheats on his wife all the time. So I'll just go ahead and save you a little bit of struggle by telling you that this is taking place in Vienna in the 1800s, and it's a convention in this society for husband and wives to cheat on each other. Um, and obviously, it's the men do it more. The
Mhm.
wives have to be more discreet, but everybody does it. So Rosalind is actually a little unusual in that she is resistant to carrying through with this. And it's not because she's afraid of what will happen. It has to do with her relationship with Eisenstein. Eisenstein is a bit of an ass, more than a bit. He's a jerk. He's a
Yeah.
douche. Um, and he um, the whole thing about him going to jail in the whole first scene is they're all lying to each other.
Hmm.
Adele is lying about needing a day off. Rosalinda is lying, saying, "Oh, I'm just going to be at home, crying and waiting for you." Eisenstein is lying about going to jail because he's going to go to this party first and then go to jail, right? So all of those things. This is the relationship that these three people have. Also, Adele's relationship with Eisenstein is important. He's grabby. He grabs her ass. He cops a feel whenever he gets an opportunity. He is not a good human being.
Yeah.
He's not the type that would rape her or anything, but he's definitely going to take advantage of his position. And he thinks that she likes it or something, or it never occurs to him, So
Yeah.
I don't think he's actually a bad guy per se. He's just thoughtless and selfish, and
Probably.
he's not evil. He's a frat boy. But he also thinks, the height of humor to him is to humiliate his best friend. And he
Yeah.
thinks that's hilarious. So to me, the whole premise of this is about teaching Eisenstein a lesson. All right. So, and that comes back to why Rosalind is going to the ball. She knows he's going to be there. Falca makes sure that she knows he's going to be there. And depending on how, sometimes they rearrange the scenes as far as Rosalinda's entrance goes. But she knows that he is there flirting with girls. And she chooses to disguise herself in a way that nobody will recognize her as this Hungarian countess. Not even her own husband recognizes her.
Yeah.
So, the Czardas is your big entrance aria. So tell me what you're thinking as you enter to sing this, why you sing this piece, and what you're trying to do during the piece.
Okay, so as you said, sometimes the scenes are rearranged, so sometimes I get a little confused about, just watching different productions about what actually kind of happens before. But the way I've been thinking about it is Rosalinda is she's been introduced to everybody as this Hungarian countess, and now she kind of has to she has all this attention on her, so now she has to prove it. But and also because Eisenstein is trying to get her to unmask and get her to reveal, and so she's again, I'm not sure. Sometimes I've seen that come before or after, I don't know, but so she's got to convince everybody. So the way I've kind of always viewed this aria is the very beginning of it is almost like a little melodramatic, trying to be really convincing and not get found out that she's there. But as it goes on, I feel like she starts to even believe it herself a little bit. It's kind of really getting into all the attention and everything, and gets a little carried away with it. And that's why it gets all fast and everything. But I don't know.
Okay. So what about, let's back up just a second. Why are you at this party? What is your purpose in coming to this party?
Her purpose is to basically her purpose is to, like you said earlier, kind of teach Eisenstein a lesson, and she knows he's been lying to her, and she's basically going to expose him.
She's going to expose him at the party?
No, that's not the right word. I'm really struggling with words today. So I don't know what I'm trying to say.
What does she want what does she want? What does she hope to get by going to the party? She wants to teach Eisenstein a lesson. She wants to catch him in the act.
Yeah.
Right? She's catching him in a place he's not supposed to be, doing things he's not supposed to be doing. and he ends up pursuing her. I mean, he's starstruck by her from the moment she walks in, which is also very funny. Um,
Yeah.
but you know, everything she says to him, all her interactions with him, are about leading him further and further into the trap.
Hmm.
And when he gets home, you know, she's hoping to spring it on him, you know, and that, yeah, she's gonna call him to accounts. So yes, you are convincing people that you're a Hungarian countess, but mostly Eisenstein. You don't really care about all these other people,
Yeah.
right? This is all for his benefit. And um, I do think she's enjoying herself very much, but I also think the point of this is to um, not only not only ensnare Eisenstein, but also your real anger comes out, your hurt comes out from time to time,
Hmm.
right? She
Yeah.
she has in the clever translations of it, she has a lot of digs at him throughout the thing that he doesn't realize are digs.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just taking some notes.
So we always play the adjectives. What is she doing in order to get revenge on Eisenstein? What's the action she's doing?
I honestly don't know. I like I anytime I think it's one thing, I change my mind. Um
Well, that's okay. You can experiment with different things. The problem here is you don't have enough information. You haven't done enough homework on this. So you need to go back. You need to read the libretto cover to cover and read as many different ones as you can find. There are some excellent YouTube videos that are very, very funny that show, you know, her character, and they're in German, but they have translations so you can get an idea. There's a bunch of different translations out there. I promise you that every time you do Fledermaus, you're going to do a different translation. And it's very fashionable right now to update it and to do sort of your own version of it. So, you know, just be prepared. Just need to know the basic story, really. Okay? So, what if you try, give me some of your ideas that you have when she starts the aria? What is her action? What's she trying to do?
I've always trying to oh my gosh, why can I not pull words today? She's trying to like capture the crowd, but specifically his attention.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I'm
that's
struggling.
great. That's really good. Well, because you're tired. That's why.
I think that's
Um,
it. I don't know.
that's all right. Yeah, you're tired and your brain's just, you know, not working as quickly as it normally would. She's putting on a show, right? She's going to put on a show for all these people. But and like you said, so the action you're going to play is to captivate. That was a great word. Captivate everybody, but especially Eisenstein. So what that means is when you're performing it, you need to know there's a bunch of people on stage, right?
Mhm.
The whole chorus, Orlovsky, Adele, Falca.
Oh,
I'm not sure whether Frank is there or not yet. That just depends on the ver. Well, I think he is. Yeah, Frank's there, and Eisenstein, and Sally, or whatever they choose to call Adele's sister in this particular production. But they're all there. So um, but you need to know specifically where he is in comparison to everybody else, so
okay.
that you can direct certain lines to him. And that's the fun thing about this. You've got to choose some of those lines to particularly captivate or seduce him, because you certainly don't want him going off and flirting with any other girls. You want
Yeah.
him. Part of your trap is you want him to flirt with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, the unexpected thing that happened is you did not expect Adele to be there wearing your dress, of all things.
Yeah.
So you're also trying to make sure that Adele does not recognize you
Mhm.
because you're going to get her back too now. When you show up and see her, you're like, mm-hmm, yeah, we're going to have words about this. Okay, so why don't you start it for me
Right.
and just show me what you do.
Okay, I'm gonna have to move some stuff around real quick. Also, this is the hardest aria to get an accompaniment track to work for in the whole.
I know, it's very hard.
Hard.
You're in a different place than you were last year.
Yeah, I moved apartments. Yeah, so, and I currently don't have anybody living with me. I'm trying to find new roommates, which is another reason I'm really stressed out because I currently have an apartment. So,
Is your doggy there with you?
Yeah, she's on the chair being annoyed. She's just sleeping. She keeps. All right, let's turn it back on. Yeah, I've literally made 4 different tracks of this piece, and I hate every single one of them. So, but we do what we can. Okay. Let's see here.
Okay.
That
Very
one
good.
middle part, the beat gets off, and I'm like, ah.
Okay, you're worrying way too much about that. It does not matter in a dramatic coaching.
I know.
It
So
doesn't matter in a coaching period. You know that it's, I mean,
yeah,
you know,
sorry.
it's very clear that you know the music. So don't even worry about that. By now, we all understand the vagaries of working with a piano accompaniment. So let's talk about this. So obviously, this suits you really well vocally. It's going to be a great piece for you. And personality wise, I think it will too when you start to trust yourself a little bit. Right now, you are not trusting yourself. You're really worried about, I don't know if you're worried about technique or about the notes or what, but you're worried about the piece and you're very much in your head for it. And that's preventing you from the one thing that you really have to do with this, which is have a wild amount of fun. Okay? It is a fun piece. And so what I find right now is because you're a good actor and you have good instincts, I noticed right away that you were using that introduction and you did use the music, you did the punctuation of the music um, to change focus. That's the right idea. But after you told me, oh, I'm so used to doing way too much, I didn't see I didn't see enough. I didn't see anything approaching way too much, like even in
Okay.
the same zip code. Okay, and I will admit that my preference for this aria is for it to be wildly over the top.
Okay.
When I stage it, I have Rosalind is basically abusing Eisenstein through the whole thing. Um, and using him sort of as a prop, and he ends up lying on the floor with her foot on top of him. She
Yeah.
uses this as to get to like beat him up, basically, which is what she wants to do. I don't know that you can really do that so much, if you're singing it just as an audition aria, but you can do a whole lot more than what you're doing right now. So let's start with just the opening part. The way I would look at this is, so she's putting on a show, right? She's impersonating this Hungarian countess. So you have to be the big diva. It's almost like you're the big opera diva who has been asked to sing at a party. Um,
Yeah.
and so that's what you're going to do. But very, and you, I mean, again, this is my preference. I would take it totally over the top with imperious gestures and really, exaggerated overacting. But that's my preference. There's certainly other things out there. Um, Watch that you are doing a lot of swaying and particularly going back and forth like this. It's very unstable. It's one of the things that really shows me that you're not feeling confident. So I want you to imagine yourself. I mean, you've got your beautiful hair. Imagine yourself now in a beautiful dress, right? And you've got your big mask on, and you're going to really put on this show. So you have this very dramatic music, exotic music that builds up. And you've got to make sure everybody's watching you, right? It's almost like a sorceress or somebody coming in, and then, oh, but I have to get my head together for this. And then you're going to sing what is actually a very beautiful song and sentimental song. And sentimentality is another thing that's very much appreciated during this time. But take that sentiment and really make it a little gooey. Okay, when you start singing about it, this is the part where you're drawing everybody in.
Yeah.
Use that punctuation of the music, but I would use much bigger gestures. And I want to see throughout that you know exactly where Eisenstein is. Where is he in your mind?
Um, in my mind, he's like right of center.
Okay. So make sure that you have several moments where you look right of center and you really, give him a steamy gaze or something. So we know very clearly that that's Eisenstein. Okay. You really have to identify him. Also, the other thing that I don't find you doing, although you sing it very well, you're not really using the phrases. You have all these punctuated phrases that you could be using to comedic effect. Let me pull up. I didn't print out your thing because I know this aria fairly well, but I don't know the words necessarily. Pull it up. I thought I had it right here. Dadgummit. Sorry, give me just a sec. Yeah. So uses this beginning, the dun dun da 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 dun da 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 dum ba bum ba bum ba bum bum bum, and then da dum ba dum ba dum. Use those things in some way, and then when you get to the Klange der Heimat, calm it down a little bit, but continue to get your audience's attention. Um, Really talk about when you talk about die Tränen, you know, you can emphasize that a little bit. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you could cry a little bit. Um, and same thing when you have this, you have all these tempi that changed. Heimischen Lieder zieht die dear. Whenever you have something big like that, do something there, right? Do something that reflects what you're trying to accomplish. So maybe part of this, if you like the interpretation, you can add into it. Those are moments where you do something to torment Eisenstein. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, they have to build. They start off being little things, right? Like you actually, and again, this is not all stuff that you can do because you don't have him there, but think of it that way. You're going to do something to irritate or torment or draw in Eisenstein. And it's that constant thing where you let him see something he likes and then you do something to him. So you're constantly keeping him off balance.
Yeah.
Um, and then when you get to the Oh Heimat so wunderbar, that has to be a little bit bigger than what it's been before. It's very sentimental. And
Okay.
now all of a sudden it's Sound of Music, right? Strato di Sonnenklar. Um, Contrasts, make big contrasts.
Okay.
Wie grün deine Wälder, and then you have this big high note, right?
Yes.
Scare the crap out of Eisenstein or out of your audience on it. So maybe you're looking away and then it's bah, bah. Make it very deliberate. There has to be, so one of the things that I love to do when I am doing a character is I find another character that I can identify that person with to help me kind of really know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think, who would you identify Rosalinda with?
Hmm.
Think of TV shows that you watch or movies or books you've read.
Uh, I know who in my head. Rachel Bloom. I don't know if you know her.
Who is she?
She's the girl who wrote and stars in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Have you ever?
Okay. Yeah, I kind of know who she is. I haven't seen. I've seen the memes, but I haven't seen any of her work
This
beyond.
like over dramatic kind of actions all the time, but deep down, like, is actually like really trying to like do things right and stuff.
Hmm. Okay, that sounds excellent. I was thinking Miss Piggy, but either one of those works. I like the idea of Rachel Bloom. So show me that when you're singing this. Be a little bit, channel her a little bit, okay? Um, so let's just do the opening, the Heimat part again, and we won't get to the Gypsy song. We'll do that separately. Let's just work that part again.
Klänge der Heimat, ihr weckt mir das Sehnen, rufet die Tränen ins Auge mir.
Okay, hold on, please. Hold on, please. So you actually did less with the introduction music than you had done before. I want bigger gestures, both physical and mental gestures, and use all that wonderful music. If so, you need to exaggerate more. If you're There are directors who want Rosalinda to be played absolutely straight. So you might be asked to do something more like that. But I think that she should be hilarious. And so, she is exaggerating. And part of the fun is for her to see how far she can push this characterization and still have people go along with it, especially Eisenstein and to a secondary degree, Adele, right? So you need to really be the grand dame, and it's not just being snooty. It's I am here. I'm taking up space. My dress is huge. It takes up room. Thank you, darling. Yes, thank you. My
I
public.
was definitely struggling in my head with like gestures that made sense when there weren't words. I don't know. I was like thinking about it
Well,
when
you have to have a picture in your mind of what's happening,
yeah,
right? So first of all, the carriage, I think you had the carriage down right. You were very upright. Get your elbows away from your body, because when you have a big skirt on, you
yeah.
can't really, you can't do this so much, right? So and I find I play a lot of imperious characters. So for me, it just works to have my hands, up in some way or another at all times. Almost all times. I mean, I'm not saying you have to walk around like that the whole time, but
Yeah.
there's a sort of this, here I am, and fussing with things and making sure everything's perfect, and don't shift your weight so much.
Trying.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can turn your body. Ugh, terrible dress, darling. And you, oh, hi, your majesty. All of those things you can do. And then when you're ready, make a big moment where I'm going to now prepare myself mentally and spiritually to sing you this song, right?
Okay.
So use something, don't be afraid to do something silly, like a big snort, or some exaggerated um, opera singer mannerism that people think that opera singers do, right? So you could do that, but you have the little dum, but maybe somebody's talking, and you shoot them a glance. Set it up.
Okay.
Set it up that here now I'm going to sing, and then you're enacting also this sort of to them exoticism a little bit. So I will show you now my magic as, a Hungarian countess who may or may not have gypsy blood. It's that whole thing. Okay?
Okay.
You're performing for a bunch of wealthy white people, and you're
Okay.
playing on that. Okay?
Okay. I'm ready. Sorry, I got in my head.
Up to that point, it was
Yeah.
really good. Really good.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, we're about out of time, but that's the idea, and I want you to just get some sleep, drink some water, and I know that when you're feeling a little more yourself, that you will totally nail this. I'm not worried about that at all. I know you are a great actor. Just sit there and think through it and look at your score, listen to it, and find musical moments to do something with. Okay. The other thing I'll tell you is that when you get to the sort of dance part, I would, oftentimes they'll start off just like doing a shoulder, very
Yeah.
small, or the hip or something. Ba-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum. And it gets faster and faster and wilder. So you have to the contrast again. It's about contrast. This is a slow transition to the contrast. Um, you're trying in this part to get everybody. It's your joke on everybody else. You're going to get them all dancing around and partying too, right? And if we were on stage, we would have, Eisenstein would be doing the Julie Louise Dreyfus dance from, he'd be the terrible dancer,
Yeah.
right? He is a legend in his own mind, and that would be one of your motivations because he's a terrible dancer and you want to expose that. So you're gonna get the party going with that, and you yourself are totally gonna let down your hair and have a good time. And like you said, then maybe that's the point. At some point in that is where you start really just enjoying yourself for the sake of enjoying yourself and forget yourself a little bit too.
Yeah.
Because I really love that idea. I mean, this is a woman whose husband does not pay attention to her. So now here you are the life of the party. Okay. So yeah, totally enjoy that. And then maybe have a moment at the end where you're like, whew, yeah, I did that, you know. But that's how I would go after that. Okay.
Yeah, that helps a lot. I just, yeah, I definitely struggle with the beginning. With just, I don't know. I've always had a hard time with gestures, and I think it's because, like, years ago, like, someone kind of made an ugly comment about my gestures, and now I get, like, super self conscious about them, and so I need to just, like, get past that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to say just get past it, it's another thing to do it. But you need to change your perspective as you're thinking about that and say to yourself, look at it from a different angle and say, okay, instead of carrying this hurt around for me from somebody who really ultimately doesn't matter.
I don't even remember who said it, so that should be my,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, some jerk. So, um, but concentrate on what you know. When that negative message starts to come to you, then say to yourself, yeah, but I've gotten this feedback on my acting, and I've gotten this feedback on my acting, and I've been given this role, and I'm doing this, and so here's the evidence that you are wrong. That thing is wrong, and every time it comes up, you have to go to those. You have to look for the truth, which
Mhm.
is not that you're bad at gesturing. It is that you are blocked right now, and that's how you unblock it.
Yeah.
Just start chipping away at it. Okay. So, and the other thing is fake it till you make it.
Yep.
Um, I want you, I'm going to give you a little homework assignment, and that is, you're alone in your apartment. There's nobody who can see you but the dog, and the dog doesn't care. I want you to put this on or something else, and I want you to go wild with the gestures. I want you, your elbows can never come near your body. I want you to really take up space. Okay. I want you to move around. I want you to just make big grand gestures like you would on the opera stage. If you're on the opera stage, you can't make little
Yeah.
tiny gestures, right? Gestures are slower and take up more space so they can be seen at a distance.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than watching somebody jiggle around up there because it just looks like they're shaking or something. So that's metaphorically and mentally and physically take up space. Okay? All right. I'll see you later, Blondie.
Thanks.
Bye.